Welcome, everybody, to Portland Cocktail Week Distanced Learning. I'm so excited to have you all here today for Growth Through Empowerment with my wonderful guest, Michael, and I'm going to say your last name wrong.
Do it. You can do it. Aredes.
No, Aredes. Oh my God, one more time.
Aredes.
Aredes.
Yeah.
Did I get it? Aredes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You did it.
So sorry. Okay, Michael Aredes. Sorry, I realized that I didn't ask you that just before the camera turned on.
It's okay. My name is Michael, guys. Just call me Michael.
We're going to call him Michael. But we will honor your last name as well, and I will get it right. So, Welcome, everybody. We're so excited to have you here today. My name is Louise Marquis. I'm the National Portfolio Brand Ambassador for Campari America. My pronouns are she and her, and I am thrilled to be here today with Michael Aredes, who is a bartender, server, advocate in the bar and hospitality space. And we're going to be talking about growth through empowerment because this person really wonderfully radiates positivity and joy. So today we're going to look at how we can continue our own growth through empowering new teammates, fellow colleagues, and others in our industry through sharing our knowledge, our skills, and extending the same hospitality we share with guests with each other, which is a really interesting topic and a really, I think, topical thing to be talking about right now.
Yeah, particularly me last night. I went out last night and literally seeing my friends struggling, but it's a time we need to be talking to each other and helping each other. But sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. I was just I was getting all the housekeeping out of the way, and you're totally right. This is something that we need to talk about right now, how we're supporting one another through this time, also taking care of ourselves through it. And the longest year of my life, because it started 19 months ago.
Yeah.
So please, as we're getting started, just a few housekeeping things. Please like us on Facebook. I think the link should be popping up right now for Portland Cocktail Week. It helps us a lot, helps us get more visibility, helps spread the word and share these classes with lots of people across the country and around the world. Please subscribe to our channel on YouTube. The Portland Cocktail Week channel on YouTube is a wealth of information, classes. We've been hosting these classes since March or April of 2019. 2020. So we have a lot of classes available. Please follow us on Instagram, a great place to learn more about what's coming up, what's going on. And please also comment below and ask questions through the session. So I'll be moderating. I'll be seeing what your questions come in. Please let us know what you're thinking. We'd love to have your feedback and questions for Michael. Lastly, I work on the Campari community. So please join us in the Campari community whenever you're able. We have a newsletter that I think the link is showing up right now. You are welcome to sign up for our newsletter. You'll get our schedule. We host classes weekly as well through the Campari Academy portal. So we got lots of fun stuff going on, and we'd love to have you join us. So, okay, Michael, let's jump into this. Let's talk about your topic. Absolutely. Why did you propose this, and what do you want to share today?
So when I was asked to teach a class, I really struggled with what I was going to talk about because I know I have a wealth of knowledge. I know I have a lot of experiences, and I was just I was like, what do I even say? What am I going to do? But then somebody's like, you're really great at hospitality. This was Dave. And I was like, yeah. But also something that's been hitting me really hard over the last couple of years is I always am seeking growth. I'm always seeking my progression. I'm always seeking to make people feel better and more comfortable wherever they are. So I was like, we can let's talk about people growing through helping each other, just having communication, through sharing our skills, through all of these things. So coming to this topic, I was like, actually, I think I have a bit I can say. So, so I always have a lot to say too, but
me too.
Yeah, I can't stop myself. So today's, I called the class Growth Through Empowerment with the subtext, be kind, be kind, be kind. Because ultimately, everything has to be rooted in that. We are in hospitality. We need to be kind to our guests. We need to be kind to ourselves. And we need to be kind to each other. So starting off, really fun fact, every slide today is named after a K-pop song, because I do also teach Zumba classes, and it's like how I motivate myself to keep myself going. So we have a link that will be shared too for all the songs. So
amazing.
First one, where it's like we're going into the new world. So we're going into different venues, and we're seeing a lot less staffing and labor. Literally just keep like running bare bones for so many different reasons. On top of that, we're also running with a lack of product. Like it's importing things is very difficult. Just getting produce, getting whatever, like paper, like whatever it is difficult.
Yeah.
And then on top, even following that, we have a lot of new people joining the industry. We've seen a lot of people, a lot of talent, a lot of wonderful humans decide to move forward, but we've also have a lot of new amazing people coming in from finance, from other walks of life, and from the back of the house moving forward. And it's exciting and it's wonderful to see, but there's also a lot less know-how of how to operate within that space. One of my teammates here at Autoboy used to be in finance, and it was his first real restaurant job, and he didn't know how to like move himself and figure himself out. And then further, we have more challenges. We're seeing guests come in who have seen a few things and felt a few things over the last couple of years. And also regulations with, particularly in New York City, we have the key to NYC. So checking vaccine cards and having to enforce that with the threat of fine. And figuring out how to navigate that while still trying to operate your service and be hospitable. And then I'm sure you go out and you see this in LA as well. Like all of these things are happening. Like we can walk into our favorite spaces and then we're just seeing what's happening. And it's disheartening, but also I think we can find encouragement in the fact that we can move forward. So I tell myself, I can't stop me. I can keep going. Where do I go? What's gonna happen? Next slide, please. Where do we go from here? How do we progress? What's gonna happen to my venue? A lot of places are struggling financially to make it through. We may be struggling financially to make it through because of like all of these changes. What about me? Like I want to make you feel like you want to make progress. You feel like you're at a standstill because there's people being brought in above you, beneath you, whatever it may be, and you're just lost. You feel as though you can't move forward. So our industry as well, like we're seeing a lot of changes and a lot of good things, but we're feeling like how do we change the culture? How do we make things better for every single person that is around us? Every single person. So what I want to say, the next slide as well, is like, let's step up. Let's move forward. Raise your own team up, starting like that. Be kind of a guidepost and a light for anyone who's around you at other venues or guests, whatever it may be, to kind of like help refocus any of that frantic, scared energy into something a little more positive and like motivating. And also be open to more. There are so many things that we never thought about doing. People we don't necessarily listen to for whatever reason because of our own predetermined biases, whatever. But if you're open to listening and hearing things, you're going to be able to find something you may not have even thought about having worked and have it be something life-changing. And again, be kind. At the heart of it all, like kindness is one of the most important things in this world, in life, and we have to remember to keep that going. So let's start at home, moving forward. Start with your own team. Next slide, please. Start with your own team. Here at Autoboy, we have a lot of people coming from, again, a lot of different walks of life in the front of the house, in the back of the house. So starting with that, when hiring people, look at people who don't have hospitality experience. Look at people who may normally they can't do this, because they may be one of the most key parts to making your restaurant evolve, your bar evolve. Like, it's very important. And with those people, patience and support are one of the most key things you can have. The person I keep referring to, when he joined us, you could see in his head, he was so stressed out. He was so worried. and it showed in his service. And one night at the end of the night, I talked to him and I was like, Bobby, you're here. You have all of the tools and keys to be here. You got to get out of your own head and move forward. I know it's scary. It's a lot. We're trying to figure this out, but you're capable. And giving him another week because people thought he wasn't going to make it, he changed. His mindset changed, and he was able to grow and become better. And like, that's another thing. You want to be able to fortify and nurture the skills that people already have. You need to identify what they have, like that would bring a benefit to your team and to themselves and to the experience, and nurture it. Everyone communicates differently. Everyone learns differently. Everyone has a different skill set, a different presentation of their hospitality. So taking that and encouraging those good things and making sure that they feel confident in themselves is extremely important. And I think one of the most beautiful things we can do. Mm-hmm. And coming from that, you have to teach and train people with good intention. Don't make it just be out of necessity, like, I need you to do this job. One of the most important things for me is making people better than me. Whenever I have anyone I get to train or teach or share my knowledge with, I want them to be better than me. I know I won't be able to do what I do forever. And some of these people may be able to like progress and do amazing things. They will progress and do amazing things. So you need to be able to teach with that intent of making people great, making them better, feeling good about it, not just, I need you to do this job, because it's literally going to be the most negative. It's going to create one of the most negative environments for them and for yourself. And that can pass on to other people. Also, when you have ideas, when you have a feedback about something, I know it's very hard to want to say those things because you're afraid of retribution. You're afraid of looking stupid. You're afraid of whatever it may be. That's a human condition. Not everyone's built with confidence to be able to say things. Myself took years to be able to, I'm very happy, but it took me years to be able to feel confident in knowing that when I have something to say, I should say it. So when you have that feedback, share it. Share it with your management. Share it with your team. You may be able to change something in that small level in your own space that could make things 1,000 times better for everyone. And even supporting, if you're even especially with new management, they may be learning that job at the same time. Don't go with just your problems. Try and come with a solution. We hear there's so many problems that managers get this all the time. I'm me as a someone with experience in our restaurants and bars in general. You in your job and having to when you bring on new ambassadors, when you bring on new brand champions, whatever it may be, you have these people that I just lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. You have these new people and they may have ideas that may make things so much better for everybody, and empowering them to feel comfortable and share their ideas, and they may be able to make things so much better. It's a really, really cool thing. I've been able to see it here. I've been able to see it at another bar I'm working at, little things to just make life better for everybody, the guests, everyone. It's just exciting. I love talking about this stuff. It makes me really happy because
I have some questions for you. I'm so sorry. I'm going to cut you off.
So, yes, please do.
So one, I think it's interesting that what you're talking about and what you're sort of pointing out is a huge culture shift that's happening. Yes. Where we used to be in a paradigm in the hospitality industry where it was very, and this is edgy thing to say, but very bro culture, very militarized. It was literally designed from the military, the brigade system. It was very much sink or swim. This is how it is. You learn by being thrown into the fire, and you survive or you don't. And that was an incredibly traumatic way come up in an industry. And it's not going to work in now that we're in a new paradigm where there's so much more understanding of mental health. There's so much more understanding of neurodiversity and experience and understanding how to value people for different things that they bring versus asking everyone to be the same and to bring the same thing to the team.
Yeah.
So I think you're talking about is this push towards empathy, this push towards really taking the time to understand people. But it's also really hard because we haven't necessarily been trained to do that. And that's not the model we were given when we started in restaurants. I mean, I literally, my first job in the restaurant and fifth job, whatever, my first real job in the industry after doing a bunch of other little things, she was like, well, I don't really want to get to know you because I haven't decided if I'm going to fire you yet.
Ew.
Like, I don't know. Yeah. And that was like the first thing she said to me. And so it was, I was like, and it was motivating and I did, but it was also like, it put a thing in me with a fear that I was always going to be fired, which was, I still had that at Campari. I'm like, well, maybe I'm going to get fired.
Anxiety is a bad thing. It's such a bad thing.
And I was talking to a friend the other day and he's very old school kind of from this world. And I was like, oh, we were talking about praise. And he's like, oh, you can never give praise. You can't ever do that. And I was like, oh, right. That's that old system of like, you can't praise people because they're going to think they're good at something and then they'll never do it again, or that they won't listen to you anymore. So I'm from such a different school of like, give people positive reinforcement, support people through their process. Like we're here to, be of use.
The thing is, I've learned to be more of this way through my own experience. It's very similar where I dealt with a lot of homophobia and dealt with a lot of stress, and I was gaslit. And was when I brought these things to the management, I was told, well, you just need to understand it's part of the culture. And for them, like, that hurt me. And like, but also like motivated me is like, in spite of all of this, I'm going to continue to succeed because I don't need this. And when I was able to eventually move forward and these things, the residuals hang over from like feeling like because of like whatever thing, I don't have a voice. I'm like, no, like in spite of all this, I have something to offer and share. And that's where now, like, I'm moving forward to the next slide as well. It's like outside of our own four walls of our space, like we can move things forward and be so much better. I want to help others. I want people to feel loved and cared for. And coming back to you is like, hey, I understand how much it hurts to have someone tell you like they have to decide if they're going to fire you. It's motivating, but it's scary, and no one needs that stress. No singular person needs that stress.
Like I did not find it. If she had been like, wow, this is your first day and you're doing a great job. Like I see where you can grow, and I also see like what you already bring to the table, and I'm really looking forward to working with you. I think I would have been like, cool.
Yeah, it feels better. Like you feel like, for me, I was like hearing that, I was like, oh, that feels good, because it's like, here's the things you do well. Everyone has opportunities and you can communicate them. Yeah. But you can communicate them, but there's still that, for me, PDP, praise, discipline, praise, like not even discipline, now to change it to opportunities, POP, praise, opportunities, and more praise, like making it better. But continuing to move forward. So outside of our own four walls, in our own venues, in our own spaces, it's important to help others out in our industry. Start with number one, check in with someone when you walk into their space, or even not even walking into their space, texting a friend who you see, it's like, hey, how are you? Like, it can be a professional text, it can be a personal text, it can be a professional personal thing, and listen actively to what they're saying, because there may be little things in there where you can pick it up on it and be like, this issue you're having, I've dealt with this. Here's what you can try and do, or here's a couple things you can try and do. Answer questions that people have for you, but also bridge those solutions. So the example I had in my head about this was, someone is like, I'm trying to figure out how to do XYZ with my beverage program, or this is broken, like physically broken. Who can I talk to? How can I fix this? And providing them the connection to make whatever it is work and function in a way better way. And something that's extremely important to me, like through things like this, through other education, whatever it may be, is sharing the skills you have, the knowledge and know-how. Knowledge not shared is useless. This was something I heard in a bar meeting from another head bartender here in New York City. It's if you don't share what you know, it's not going to go anywhere. You can't take that knowledge with you when you're gone. You can't take all of these experiences with you when you're gone. Share them with people. Give them the tools to succeed. Like, give them the tools to feel better about what they're doing. Like, it's just like with history where people have to write it down and speak it to have it move forward in order to be able to build things in the future and create innovation and growth and change. You can start with the knowledge you have and the skills you have as a baseline can create progression and make things move forward in a very positive way. And it's extremely, extremely amazing to see. I get to see it when somebody asks me, oh, how do I do this? I'm like, oh, do this. And then it changes. And you're like, whoa, this feels so much different. I actually noticed something one of my friends is doing at their bar. They have a list of people that come into their bar. With the Key to NYC mandate, they've already checked them. They can come in. It's something so simple, like to like make things flow easier, particularly in a place that's very local, where you have the same people coming in. It will save you so much stress and like to give you time. But also, when you're out somewhere, be aware and be patient. When you step into a venue to go out and enjoy it, look around, see what's happening. Don't put pressure on someone to take care of you. Be patient with the fact that things are difficult, and with yourself to not feel like things are not okay or make others feel like they're not okay. Everything's fine. We just have to take that moment to exist in that space and be like, okay, I see what's happening. I exist in it. But yeah, moving forward onto our next slide as well. It's all about hospitality at the end of the day. Take it to the next level. We do this every single day for other people, like in our venues, but also naturally in our homes when we're hosting people, in conversation with somebody else, making them feel comfortable. Create an environment that is inviting, comfortable, and safe. Safe is such an important word here because there are people that will automatically walk into a space and feel like they are not welcome based on where it is, who's there, like how they stand out against all of that, and even their own like preconceived notions of what it is to be in that space, because things may have changed from when they were there before. I think another really important thing is to find a common ground to communicate with each other. All of us, we all speak different languages. We all communicate differently. We all do things a different way. But when you take the time to understand someone else and see where they're coming from and meeting them on that common ground so you can have a very important conversation about whatever it is, it's important because we all have different circumstances and we don't have the same availability of resources, of time, whatever it may be. So being able to recognize that again and bring yourself to that common ground is extremely important. And that all of this ties into kind of being kind, really just being
yeah, being kind. Absolutely.
So please.
No, I think it's so interesting because I've been working on a couple of projects and having conversations with someone, like a friend of mine hurt her foot. And so now easily accessible spaces are very important to her in a way that she like never cared about before.
Yeah.
And so she's finally experiencing what it's like to have a differently abled body for the first time in her whole life. And she's never had this before. And so it's making her aware of all the things that are not set up for her to be successful, because it's so hard. And, I'm like listening to her talk about this and I'm thinking about like how often, and this is small, but it's actually really significant. Like I'm vegetarian and my boyfriend is celiac. Mm-hmm. And so we can't go to a lot of places. And it's just because people don't label their menus and their staff isn't trained on what's in the food. And so it's just but like most people, you know, there's only 2 million Americans with celiac. So most people don't ever encounter this in their lives. But to the people that it matters to a huge deal. So
Absolutely.
it's these little things of and this constant recognition. Like for me, I feel like I live with it a lot where I go, oh, you just don't know my experience. And so you don't know to do this. That would do something that would make my life so much better. But we all often think that like our experience is the experience, but it's not. Everyone here is having a different experience. And there's ways to find empathy and build empathy with people through conversation, through understanding, through creating a space for you as a queer person who feels comfortable at work. Because like, you know, your manager probably isn't, right? So based on
it could be a lot of things.
Be clear. Yeah. It's nothing they said to you, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Finding ways to feel comfortable and to build connection and understanding of other people's experience so that you can then create spaces for them where they feel comfortable. And that comes back to empathy and comes back to kindness, all those things you're saying. I just feel like so often, especially with the internet, especially with Facebook and Instagram, and like we can really focus and specialize the way we see the world is based on what we think and who we are. It's actually not true.
The algorithm is special. But yeah, that's a whole nother subject, but like it's
a whole nother subject. Yes.
Yeah. But like it is, I love talking about all of these things, but like it is so important to like be aware. You said something when just talking right now, I was like, this is so important. And I say this a lot too, is like every single one of us has a different framed mindset of our experience and what our worst day is based on what we have experienced and been through in our life. Like we don't know what the other next person's worst day is. We don't know the struggles that the person is facing. And that's fine. Like, but you need to take the moment to be aware of it. Just be aware and be open to the fact, like, not everyone thinks the way you do. Not everyone has the same traumas you do. Not everyone has the same, and it's not to like discount any of that, but not everyone has the same life experience. And it's so important to recognize it.
Or the same gifts. Some people just aren't good at this thing. Some people don't know it. Some people look at a POS system and it's their literal worst nightmare.
Yeah, it's like too many buttons, too many things. Like for me, it's drawing. I can't draw for my life, like at all. So like anytime anyone's like, can you make a cool artistic sign for the door? I'm like, no, I really can't.
Do it.
It's like, can you do this so that like I'll help you do the thing you really don't want to do that I'm really great at doing. And you can do the drawing. Like, I don't mind. Like that's common ground. Like we're finding the space where we can like exchange the skills and like make it work. Like
for me, it's choosing music. I'm like, do not make me choose the music. Everyone will be so sad.
I love sad music.
It's just like, okay, if you want to like get real moody, call me. I'll make you a playlist. But generally, no, don't. I'm like, and I'm terrified of it. People like, put something on. I'm like, oh God, no.
If you want to be hype, I got you. Like, I'll bring it. Let's go.
You keep doing that. Okay, wait.
I do.
We should get back into your deck. I took you on
we have a little bit more to go, but like we're good.
And I have a bunch of questions for you, and I'm holding them to the end because I feel like they're all a lot of like. I think you're going to answer some of them as we go, and then I'll ask you the rest when we're done.
Absolutely. So being kind to others, I think we just kind of went over that. Like literally, like be aware of other people, like and what they've done, what they've gone through, like their day, their anything. Just be kind. Like. Be aware of like that not everyone's on that same wavelength that you are, and it will be returned to you. And also particularly in our industry, and people who are extremely driven and have the desire to work hard and do well and push forward, allow these people to rest, take care of themselves, and support them in that. When someone tells you they don't want to go do something, when someone tells you they can't do something to rest, don't pressure them into making them feel like they're not like meeting you halfway. Don't make them feel as though they're lazy. Just support them in that, because everyone has different bandwidth for experiences and what they are able to do day by day. Everyone, it's like I work 5 days a week, but I know that at least one of my days off, I don't really want to see anyone. Like I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone. Maybe I'll see one person and that will be it. Like and all of the friends I have in my life are extremely supportive of when I tell them, hey, I can't do this right now. And I'm the same with them. It's extremely important. You give them that space to exist and just take care of themselves, and supporting them in that decision. It's extremely important and wonderful. And I'm sure like you as well, you have a busy schedule, you have so much going on. Sometimes you're just like, I need a moment, and taking that for yourself, and people respect it. They have to.
That,
like,
and it's also for me, I'm just constantly remembering that other people aren't me. So like I'll also in the opposite of that, I'll be like, let's do this, let's go there, let's do this, let's make this thing happen. And then I'm like, oh, I'm pushing very hard on everybody around me. Like we can just not do anything today.
Yeah.
So it's both. And then some days I'm like, I want to see nobody maybe ever again.
Those are fun days. Those are the days where you literally just need to cuddle if you have a pet, or like
the best
significant other. They're just like, I just need to be with you, like, and just chill. And then kind of finishing things off of what I have to say for now is like, I just want to be me. Like, things feel hard, but nothing is without hope. Like, there's a lot of things you have to remember throughout all of these challenges that we're facing, as you're giving your energy to help people, like empowering people to grow, like everywhere. Like, remember your own self. Like, not all of this is a bottomless pit of sadness and despair. There is hope. We're seeing so many things change and become better. You can take that moment to realize, oh, this is great. Also, you personally have something to offer. I have something to offer this world, even in the times where like the other day, I was talking to a really good friend and I was feeling really down. Like, I was reminded I have so much to offer people, not just in hospitality, but as a human, as a person. I am worthwhile. I am not erasable. I'm not forgettable. You are not erasable. You are not forgettable. You have worth. You have the potential to do more. You're seen. Like, even when you're in the moments where you feel like you're stressed out, like nothing is progressing, nothing is moving forward, people see you and notice what you're doing constantly. People watch. And like, even when you think nobody is watching you, people see it. I've gotten jobs and worked in some of the most amazing venues in the world by people just watching me work, by seeing how I operate, by just experiencing what I have to offer. And for me, as one of the first time it ever happened was here in New York City. And it was very weird because I never thought that just me being myself would bring about that change, but they saw me and recognized like I had something to offer. So I've been able to see my own growth and progression through just being seen. Also, in that moment, remember to speak up for yourself. Like, we can empower people all day long, and if you're feeling like it's not being noticed, like, use your voice and speak up about it. Speak up about what you want, because it's what you have to say is important, and your opinion is valid. You need to just talk, and you say what you need to say. It's so important just to have that moment. And I know I've like repeated this 3 times, but really, really, like, you can say something that can make someone's worst day into the day that things get better. Like, things start to change. And that, again, be kind to yourself. Like, take yourself out to dinner. I did this last night. I went to Estella because I haven't been out in the last like 2 months, to take myself out to do something nice. And it was the most healing, amazing thing. Like, not even just, that's have to be going out. It's like, do something that makes you happy, whatever it may be. Like I said, I teach Zumba. So I used to teach Zumba in a gym, and then I stopped one, because the pandemic shut everything down, but 2, because I didn't want things to become a chore. I want to do things to make myself happy and make myself feel like I'm normal, and not just a machine pushing myself forward and forward and forward and forward. And like I said, since dance is a thing, and I mentioned this earlier, I made every slide is named after a song, a K-pop song, because that's what I love. to like push me forward. So I have a link to share with you guys if you want to listen to it, and like just that makes me move, like something that makes me happy. So use something like listen to that, use that for yourself, or do that for yourself. Do something for you that's important and happy. You know.
I love that. And now I'll just use your playlist when someone asks me to put music on. I'll be like, I got a new playlist.
I got other ones for you.
Someone who's very fun, because it's not me, because we're going to listen to Alanis Morissette and Joni Mitchell, if you ask me.
Yes.
Okay, so I've like you saying some things like sparked some stuff for me around like some things I've also been working on and kind of exploring. And one was this idea of advice and giving advice. And I think that it's so important to ask before you give it. Yes. And so you were like, oh, give advice. And I think that there's such an amazing space that happens in like, I really believe that everyone has something to teach and everyone is a teacher, and that we're all here and we have all these platforms to be able to do it. And there's something really powerful in the moment of saying, do you want advice right now? Can I give you this? Versus just launching into it. Yeah. Where the person is really then ready to receive it. And ready to hear it. And there's this beautiful thing that happens, or someone goes, I don't. And you go, cool.
Great. And don't push it. That comes with being aware. Like I was saying earlier.
Yeah. Like, what else can I do to support you? Like, sometimes I'll say, someone will call me and they're like, they're saying something. I'm like, what kind of advice do you want? Do you want me to guide you? Do you want me to just tell you what to do? Do you want me just to listen right now and sound back to you what you're saying to me? There's so many ways to do it, but being aware of our own advice giving is such a powerful tool, something that I am like very much working on as a person who just immediately launches into suggestions all the time.
Yeah, it's part of your job. It's like it's like what you have to do to help move things forward. But like, it's good to have that awareness of yourself and awareness of what's happening, to think about that. And thank you for saying that, because I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah. You can't always, I don't want to always tell people what I'm saying. They're like saying, I can't hear this right now. Or if someone asks me, man, what do I do? I was like, do you want me to be real with you? Or do you want me to kind of like give you the space? Because I can tell you like, you're in your head and you need to stop, because you can't do this. Or I can or I can just support you though, like, and just trying to be positive with you, or support you in another way. Like, hey, like, I need you to, I just need this done. Like, done. Perfect. Easy. Like, I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's being aware and respecting people and their space, mentally and physically, emotionally, all of that.
Yeah, they might not have ever had that before. Yeah. That's like, we're all learning through this. Yeah.
Catching you off guard, you're just like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we have some questions. So how do you recharge your kindness batteries?
I think for myself, I love to sing at the top of my lungs. So, and like sometimes like when I'm in that sadness moment or in that difficult moment, it's just like singing the sadness and pain or whatever it is away. And then also like replacing that with like happy things, like moving myself, giving myself that space to feel like, oh, this is a good world. And just my kindness batteries they're almost infinite, but it's not, but it's also a challenge sometimes, because everyone has these different experiences and things they have to deal with. So for me, it's singing, dancing, and also just laying down and shutting my brain off, because I am in constant motion. And if I continue to keep the motion, it's not going to be, no one's going to be in a good place. Like,
yeah. And I think there's this thing you're talking about, we're in this role of hospitality. And so much of us want to be like, we find this job for so many different reasons, but so often because we are programmed to help people, we're programmed to serve. But that can also be a trauma response.
Very much so.
So taking time, like you're saying, to yourself, to go internal, to be alone, to like snuggle with your animal, whatever your animal might be, to have that space is so important, because so much of what we're doing is taking care of other people and our focus is out. So what I hear you saying is like, taking that focus in and being in your body, feeling yourself, and then like scream singing, which is also one of my favorite things to do in the car. I put on musicals and like cry and sing really loudly, and I'm not embarrassed.
Yeah, you shouldn't be. And the person who opened my mind to actually holding on to something for myself, Ian Griffiths, was my boss at one point, and we sat down and had a connection when we were finishing Lioness here in New York City. And he's like, our conversation went everywhere. He's like, I want you to hold on to something for yourself and something you don't have to share with anybody else, because that's super important. We give so much. Just having that one thing to hold on to for ourselves, and that's important, because then that will help us recharge that kindness battery. Like, I really like that term, kindness battery, but it's important to have that. It's super important.
Okay, as a manager, or also just on the floor, the question is, how do you help people stay patient?
How do you pay? When it comes to my team, and I check in and like to see, how are you doing, and give that, like, find the thing I can do for them in that moment to help them be calm. With guests, I think it's framing a space for them to feel comfortable, and like, even though things may be taking a while, whatever it may be, that I've got them, giving them that moment of redirecting the energy someplace else, something different. Like, have a conversation about their day, like take something and that you're noticing and seeing and talk about it. Just help someone alleviate whatever that focus they have should be something else. And then as far as just patience goes, I think it comes with, it's something that comes with a lot of time and learning, because not everyone, even if you do those little things, it's not going to be, there's not an immediate response to like having patience and giving patience. It's very much a learned thing. So I think it's starting with something as simple as waiting for the train. Like, I can't control when this comes. I can be here, even if I'm here early, I'm here late, just like giving that moment. I can't control this, releasing control from that, or whatever the situation is. And that can also help give you patience. So like, you don't have the control, especially when you don't have the control. It's okay. I'm still alive. I'm still here. Things are overall well, even if I feel like things are difficult. Things are overall well. It's okay. Like, taking that small moment of pause and just like, okay,
Yeah. And there's like a bigger picture happening.
Always.
Right? Like,
always.
I got breakfast the other day, and it took 40 minutes, and it finally came to the table, and I looked at the server, and she looked at me, and the plate of food that was in front of me was not pretty. And we were both like kind of embarrassed for each other in this moment. And I looked at her and I was like, did the kitchen not show up today? And she's like, they didn't. Like, did you cook this? And she's like, no, but I almost did.
I trust me.
Because I was losing my mind. And then I was like, there's a bigger picture.
Definitely.
Something's going on that is beyond my control and beyond everyone else's control. There's it was a very sweet moment between.
Yeah, I would have been just like, thank you so much. I'm really excited to eat this. I'm excited I have a meal in front of me now. Like,
eat food.
This feels good. Like, I'm going to nourish my body. This is going to be great. And I'm like, also like, I'm sorry. Like, and like, I would probably ask them, are you okay? Like,
that's what I did.
Like,
are you okay?
What can I do for you? Because I've oh man, there's the amount of times I wanted to just step into service and like help people when I'm out somewhere, like, infinite.
I still do it. My boyfriend's like, can you please sit down and stop seating people? I'm like, he's like, you don't work here. Don't bust the table. Like, don't. I'm constantly like, we can move over. We can make we need a chair, like, constantly. Oh my God.
It's like partially being a good guest, but sometimes it's not helpful. It's like we have to, we're all learning. We all have to learn to recognize this.
It's also a trained response to try and make everyone, anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you add joy to your workday?
So music is very important, like coming back to that. So when I'm doing setup, turning music on and just like feeling it and moving it. I also, to my work day and my day in general, it's like, and like I'm in therapy, I'm like dealing with I'm trying to deal with things like looking in the mirror and finding oneself, but myself's like damn, my hair looks great today. Like, and
I love that.
like, or like, wow, I feel great about this, and having that moment. And like, everyone needs that. Like, you need something to pump yourself up. It's important because it's not all doom and gloom. And if you keep that mindset, and someone again told us, talking to me about this the other day, and he was right. And I am thankful to him for telling me, it's like, recognize what you have. Like, you're so blessed. But especially in work, like, we could be without a job, we could be doing nothing, like, we could be doing so many other things, but finding that joy for me is music. And then also taking care of people. Like, I really love that, and I really do enjoy having like building those connections with people. And I, even when I'm stressed out, if I can take that moment and being like, wow, you look great, like, this looks great, like, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Also, just, yeah, that, anyways, yes, that's how I found joy. I'll just go in circles.
Yeah, it feels like you've learned a lot of how to talk to yourself.
I'm
That
working
you've
on it still.
your work, yeah, and you will always be working on it, and I will always be working on it. And I think that, but it's a skill that you have to learn. It's not necessarily something a lot of us are born with or raised with, to learn how to do that. And it's something that going to therapy, doing personal work helps you train your brain to be able to parent yourself, to find joy, like you're saying, like to find joy, to say, hey, slow down, check yourself out right now, like look how good you look. Like, that's something that is a muscle that can be worked and a skill that can be learned. And so I love that you're doing this work. I mean, I'm saying this because you've shared that you're doing all of it. I just love that you're doing it, and that you're also showing an example of what it looks like. Is
Mental
really
health gym, like,
wonderful. Yeah.
it's important. And
Yeah.
again, I struggle with it, like, but
Yeah.
I always am pushing myself to grow, like, and be better, like, and sharing how I feel with people. That's important too. I think sometimes sharing with people how you're feeling, if they're okay with that, which is also like a different conversation, because sometimes we really do need to say something to someone to at least have it heard. Like, it's really important. And just sharing that moment can release so much stress, or whatever that stressor may be, and turn it into something positive. And then you're like, oh, I feel better. I feel relaxed. There's like a small feeling of euphoria that whatever that negative thing is just gone for the moment.
Okay. We got a couple more questions.
Yes.
How do you build up people's confidence? Like, as a manager or a teammate, how do you have like some active things that you do, or, or tips, advice?
Yeah, I particularly with newer teammates, I want to commend them on how they're doing. Like, there's where places I work are not always the easiest places to work. There's a lot of like finer details you need to pay attention to. There's a lot of little things. I think telling people that telling someone they're doing great, and like recognizing it and thanking them for it, like from a sincere place, is extremely important. That's something I really value as well. Is like someone telling me, thank you for what you've done. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's appreciated. Like, in service, particularly, like, just offering support to someone and helping them out is also really, really helpful. Like, you can be in the deep weeds and you're I want to say something else, deep weeds, and and you're just you feel lost, but like, hey, I see your section's really, really busy right now and you're doing really, really great, but what can I do to help make things a little bit easier for you in this moment in time? That's really, really important. Also, at the end of service, just like, again, tell someone, hey, I know you had a really difficult time doing XYZ before, but I want you to know I've seen you grow and get better, and I'm really proud of you. Like, recognize that. Like, it can really help someone feel so much better, and reminding them later on, particularly Bobby, who I love, and I hope he's coming in soon, because like, where he started to where he is now, I told him the other day, it's like, you made me cry before. Like, you didn't see me cry, but you made me cry. But like, not because not because of you, but because I was so stressed out. But now look where you are. You're like one of the strongest people here on our team. And I'm so proud to see all of this growth and progression you've made. Like, recognize it. Empower that person to continue to be better. Don't let them feel like they're just going unrecognized. As a coworker and as a manager, I think I'm not a manager yet anywhere, but I think it's super important to recognize your team, like where your teammates have come, where your team has come from, like from day one to now. It's like, give that recognition. It will totally change that person's mentality if they're struggling, or reaffirm in their mind that what they're doing is not for naught. It's going somewhere.
And it also fosters such a lovely culture.
Definitely.
If you're doing that and they learn how to do that, and then other people do that too, like on my team, I often, like when I lead meetings, like we all trade off leading meetings. Whenever I lead a meeting, I start the meeting with everyone sharing something or giving someone a compliment. Like we've done like a trade-off so that people feel like this is a culture we're in where we're all going to take a moment to recognize something or about each other or to honor someone, or we always take birthdays really seriously. So when it's someone's birthday, we like make sure that they're feel included and that they get a present and they get like, we all share love on the internet. That there's that it, even if you're not a manager, even if you're not the owner, you can influence the culture of your company, of the team you're on, by you modeling it. If it's not, everyone gets busy and everyone's got their own priorities, but if culture is important to you, it's really important to me, it's clearly really important to you, and probably anyone listening to this, you set the tone, even if you're the lowest rung on the ladder.
That's important. So I think that's a really important thing you're saying. Even to the lowest person on the ladder, if you've brought them onto your team, they have a voice. Let them use that voice. You could have been here. Anyone who, when I eventually get to build a team, like I'm telling myself, I will build a bar team, I will build a service team, and it's going to be great. Like it's going to happen. But like when I do that, like every single person I've brought on with me has a voice that is worth hearing. Because I was in a meeting once where I offered a suggestion and I was told, you've been here for X amount of time, your opinion doesn't matter. And that made me feel like terrible. And other people on my team felt terrible for me. Yeah. And we all share the same sentiment. If you bring someone on, you choose to have them there, their opinion matters. From the first minute they start there, like it has to matter. It has to be important. It may not seem like it in the grand scheme of things, but like it does, because you obviously made the choice for them to be there. Yeah. You saw something in them to make them feel like they're worthwhile and part, like worthy. Like I don't like that word either, because worthiness is like subjective, but like worth having on your team. So respect that and listen, because it can bring about that positive change, something you didn't know you needed until they were there to give it to you and share it with you.
Love that. Okay, I have one more question.
Yes.
Okay. The question is, how did you all use your forced social media break yesterday? Did you find it stressful or refreshing? Did you learn anything about yourself and the way you use social media?
I was able to accomplish things I hadn't been able to accomplish, which was great. Like, so and not having social media as a distraction. And then once I was able to finish what I needed to do, I went into Nostalgia Town and I started watching Disney Channel movies with my dog on the couch. It was great. But for me, it's easy not to like look at social media and like do those things, because that's why my phone, I was telling you before we started, my phone is always on Do Not Disturb. There's like a handful of people that I have that like, if they call me, it will immediately go through. But otherwise it's just like nothing, radio silence. So for me, it was a moment to be like, there's not this thing to do. I'm just going to do things to just make myself happy and feel calm. Like, that's what I did. The forced Instagram break, forced Facebook break. The one thing that did stress me out with that was I was supposed to teach Zumba yesterday, but then it was raining and I couldn't communicate with my Facebook people that I wasn't going to have class until 45 minutes before my class, which is not my style.
Right. No.
But the forced social media break for me was just gave me time to just do things to calm my mind and bring me some relaxation. Personally, how about you? What about you?
For the first like hour, I was just like, why isn't it working? Or my boyfriend was like, why isn't it working? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's down. I don't know.
That was a cyber attack.
And I checked it a couple times and was like, this is weird. And then I realized like how often I just like ambiently look at my phone to try and check it. I was like, oh. And then when we saw in the news, like, oh, it's down. I was like, yes, what a fun opportunity to like not look at social media today. So I actually had a great time. I don't know. Yesterday was really like peaceful, and I don't know if that's because like I didn't have to cook dinner or my friend came over. I don't know. Just everything that happened yesterday was extremely peaceful and quiet, and I really liked it. So I think a lot of people are leaving Facebook now or leaving Instagram because they just don't want to deal with it anymore because they had that moment of insight. Yeah. I try and not, pay too much attention to it. So hopefully, I enjoyed not having it. I don't need it. But I'm also glad it's back because I like pictures of dogs.
Trust me, I have the same thing. It's like, I like seeing people dancing. Like, this is so much fun for me.
But yeah, I don't. Yeah, okay, we are at time. So I'm going to wrap this up really quickly. Do you have anything else you want to add to this inspiring, empowering message?
Love yourself. Seriously. And share that love with others and help make people push people forward in a healthy way. I can say all day, teach people, be better, but do it healthily. It's in a way that isn't going to negatively affect anyone else or yourself.
Yeah.
Just do it with kindness. Be kind, be kind, be kind.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time today, for putting this together, for offering some inspiration and empowerment and motivation to people. I know a lot of people are going to connect with you and what you're saying. I know a lot of people are watching this and giving great feedback already. So thank you so much for risking greatly and coming on here and leading this class. It was really wonderful.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate the opportunity and time. Thank you very much.
This is great. So, oh my God, there's so many other questions that we didn't get to. I just scrolled down.
Go on my Instagram. You can send me a message and I'll answer them.
Go on his Instagram. He will answer more questions for you. So please, as we're closing up, we're getting to our hour. Please follow Michael here at his kind of difficult to spell name. But if you just type in @MII and you're in the industry, he'll just pop up first. You can follow me at Campari and Soda, which should pop up in just a second, maybe. You can find me at Campari and Soda. I'm always posting about what we're doing at Campari America. You can also follow us at Campari Community, where we're posting the weekly schedules, all the classes we host in partnership with Portland Cocktail Week, including Portland Cocktail Week Distance Learning, Brown and Balanced, and Know Us Without You, which is in English and Spanish, which is awesome. But also we have classes through the Campari Academy that we host every week with our amazing team of brand ambassadors. So if you're looking to learn about our brands, about our, whiskey, gin, vodka, tequila, rum, all Italian bitters, French liqueurs, we've got all those things. So we would love to have you on to learn from us and learn with us. And remember to, there's Campari Academy. There we go. And then remember to follow Portland Cocktail Week on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. Oh, and you're coming back again, Michael, you're coming back in Spanish.
Sí, el jueves voy a hablar en español con toda la gente que normalmente no pueden comunicar en inglés, por eso espero que les vengan también para que podamos hablar en español sobre esas cosas, porque no importa el lenguaje, es súper importante tener ese momento para descubrir esas cosas.
Sí, c'est vrai. Je ne parle pas espagnol, mais je parle un peu de français. Et, bon.
Bon, c'est bon.
So. I love that you're doing this class in Spanish as well. I'm so excited. I will obviously not be moderating that conversation, seeing as I do not speak Spanish. But I, maybe one day, maybe that could be a goal for me. So thank you everyone for joining us. We will see you next time, Portland Cocktail Week. Please, if you loved this session, someone who is Spanish speaking, Michael's coming back and we will have you, we'll have that class again in Espanol. And we have many more courses coming to you in the coming weeks and months as we close out our year. So we'll see you soon. Michael,
thank you guys. Hasta luego.